Alright guys, in today's video we have some big PlayStation 5 news to go over and talk about here, as Sony has finally officially revealed the next generation PlayStation controller, which is not actually called the DualShock 5, it's actually called DualSense. Now, I have to say, I was absolutely not anticipating it to be called something other than the DualShock 5. And I absolutely was not expecting it to look the way it does. Yes, the images of this controller you are seeing, this is the final look of the controller. The color scheme, the color tone, everything is final as far as I'm aware. So I have more thoughts on that, and I'm going to reveal those thoughts later on in this video. But what I first want to do is go over all of the information on the PlayStation blog that Sony revealed about their next-gen controller. So let's get into it. If you're excited about it, be sure to hit the like button. It helps the video out a lot. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well so you don't miss any future PlayStation 5 updates. But it says here, we've reached an exciting milestone with PlayStation 5 as we're starting to ship our new controller in its final design to developers who are implementing its unique features into their games. But first, we wanted everyone in the PlayStation community to get a first look at the DualSense wireless controller and hear our vision for how the new controller will captivate more of your senses as you interact with the virtual worlds in PS5 games. The features of DualSense, along with the PS5's Tempest 3D audio tech, will deliver a new feeling of immersion to players. When PS4 launched in 2013, the DualShock 4 wireless controller garnered a lot of positive feedback from gamers and developers for being the best PlayStation controller yet, and for introducing forward-looking features like the share button. This brought us to the next question: how do we build upon that success? After thoughtful consideration, we decided to keep much of what gamers love about the DualShock 4 intact, while also adding new functionality and refining the design. Based on our discussions with developers, we concluded that the sense of touch within gameplay, much like audio, hasn't been a big focus for many games. We had a great opportunity with PS5 to innovate by offering game creators the ability to explore how they can heighten that feeling of immersion through our new controller. This is why we adopted Haptic Feedback, which adds a variety of powerful sensations you'll feel when you play, such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud. We also incorporated adaptive triggers into the L2 and R2 buttons of DualSense, so you can truly feel the tension of your actions, like when drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. This provided us with an exciting challenge to design a new controller that builds off of the current generation while taking into account the new features we were adding. For example, with the adaptive triggers, we had to consider how the components would fit into the hardware without giving it a bulky feeling. Our design team worked closely with our hardware engineers to place the triggers and actuators. The designers were then able to draw the lines of how the exterior of the controller would look and feel, with a challenge of making the controller feel smaller than it really looks. In the end, we changed the angle of the hand triggers and also made some subtle updates to the grip. We also took thoughtful consideration into ways to maintain a strong battery life for DualSense's rechargeable battery and to lessen the weight of the controller as much as possible as new features were added. For the buttons, you'll notice there is no longer a share button as we had with DualShock 4. Don't worry, it's not going away. In fact, we built upon the success of our industry-first share button to bring you a new create button feature. With create, we're once again pioneering new ways for players to create epic gameplay content to share with the world or just to enjoy for themselves. We'll have more details on this feature as we get closer to launch. DualSense also adds a built-in microphone array, which will enable players to easily chat with friends without a headset, ideal for jumping into quick conversation. But of course, if you are planning to chat for a longer period, it's good to have that headset handy. Now let's talk about the colors. Traditionally, our base controllers have a single color. As you can see, we went a different direction this time around and decided on a two-toned design. Additionally, we changed the position of the light bar, and this will give it extra pop. On DualShock 4, it sat at the top of the controller. Now it's sat at each side of the touchpad, giving it a slightly larger look and feel. In all, we went through several concepts and hundreds of mock-ups over the last few years before we settled on this final design. DualSense has been tested by a wide range of gamers with a variety of hand sizes in order for us to achieve the comfort level we wanted with great ergonomics. Our goal with DualSense is to give gamers that feeling of being transported into a game world as soon as they open the box. We want gamers to feel like the controller is an extension of themselves when they're playing, so much that they forget that it's even in their hands. We are thrilled about sharing the final look of the DualSense controller with our fans, and we can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it. I'd like to close with a message from SIE President and CEO Jim Ryan to the community. So this is what Jim Ryan has to say. DualSense marks a radical departure from our previous controller offerings and captures just how strongly we feel about making a generational leap with PS5. The new controller, along with the many innovative features in PS5, will be transformative for games, continuing our mission at PlayStation to push the boundaries of play now and in the future. The PlayStation community, I truly want to thank you for sharing this exciting journey with us as we head towards PS5's launch in holiday 2020. We look forward to sharing more information about PS5, including the console design, in the coming months. DualSense is a registered trademark of Sony Interactive. So there you go. That's the entirety of the blog post. And wow, I know that was a lot of reading and a lot to take in, but clearly Sony had a lot to say about this controller, and I find it very, very interesting. Now, right off the bat, I have to tell you, I'm having mixed feelings about not the look, like not the actual design of the controller, but the two-tone color. Very, very strange. I have to say, out of everything I'm seeing here, this was the least expected, going with the black and white. But everything else is actually really cool. I don't know exactly, I mean, I'm just going to put it this way. To me, at the end of the day, the color of the controller itself isn't really going to matter too much. I mean, I'm just a little put off by it because it's so radically different, but maybe it's just going to take some time to get used to. But everything else about the controller actually sounds awesome. I really like the look of it. I like the fact that it looks a little bit more bulky, but apparently it's not that much more bulky. It's not like too heavy or anything. But the features that they're implementing, such as I think they're calling it a create button, not a share button, and that to me sounds extremely interesting because we know how innovative the share button was, and apparently Sony decided to take it a step further and try to come up with something that goes even beyond that, which is awesome. So they said they're going to reveal more about that later on, so I'm very excited about that. They're talking about a bigger battery life, and as you can see, they moved the light bars. They're talking about, you know, placing the triggers and the bumper buttons or the L1 and R1 buttons just a little bit differently. So overall, I have to say I am pretty surprised at what Sony is revealing here. Again, the look of the controller, like the color of the controller itself, is so dramatically different to me. Like, it's just shocking. It's actually shocking because it's like, you would think that if, like, this Sony is kind of known to stick with that black, right? Like, they're always known to have, like, those either, like, just dark gray or black, and they're just going with this two-tone design where it's white and black, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's very futuristic looking, but I really want to know what you guys think of this, because for me, I'm liking everything I'm hearing. The adaptive triggers, obviously, all this stuff that they're putting into it. I can't wait to see how it's going to feel in the hand. I can't wait to see how developers are going to take advantage of this. I like what they're doing with the, also, didn't even mention the built-in microphone. Very cool. That is a very cool feature. I like the fact that you're going to be able to chat with your friends directly through the controller. That is absolutely awesome, and I think a lot of people are actually going to be really appreciative of that. At least I'm assuming most people will be. Overall, I feel like Sony's packing a lot into the DualSense controller. I'm really going to have to get used to saying that. It's going to feel like it's really impossible not to call it the DualShock 5. In fact, I think a lot of people will just call it the DualShock 5, but I guess them going with the name DualSense, it's really just because they're trying to convey to people just how different this is going to be. And as Jim Ryan said, they want to convey just how much of a generation, I think it was Jim Ryan, he said this in his quote that we just read, they want to convey just how big of a generational leap this is, and that's exciting to me. So overall, I think that the DualSense PS5 controller sounds awesome. It sounds like it has some really awesome features. I really still don't know how I feel about the look of the two-tone color design. I think it's maybe just because I'm in shock, and it's going to take a little while for me to like get used to seeing this, because I was expecting a fully black controller or a fully white controller, but not a two-tone design controller. And so it really gets my mind racing, wondering what is this console going to be like? Is the console also going to be two-tone? I'm going to say, yeah, probably will be to match the controller, but we're going to have to see about that. So as I said, I'm going to be really interested to see what you guys have to say. Let me know your thoughts about this controller down in the comments below. I apologize if I'm sounding a little bit all over the place here, but I'm taking this information as basically, as soon, this is my first time hearing about it, so interesting stuff here, interesting stuff. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.